Hey guys, Ghost again. We got another episode. Okay. Last time I bought the GT3, right? And I said that I'm gonna look into modifying it and whatnot in the next episode. So yeah, here we go. Here's the episode. So there are a couple of things that I haven't planned, right? But the main thing that I am aiming for is to keep it naturally aspirated. You will see at the end of the video that unfortunately that did not work out. It was not giving me the results that I was wanting for. You see. So for now we're just gonna be testing the car, looking at the performance, how good is it in the stock performance. Everything is stock, by the way. The fuel to air to fuel ratio is stock. It does not have any boost, like it does not have a turbo or a supercharger. So it's completely stock, right? So right now I just want to go for a run, basically see how fast as it is. I won't really do a thorough top speed, and I just want to from here maybe to the shop to see how fast it is. So yeah, let's basically go right now to kind of give it a little bit more performance. My target is to really go above 1,000 horsepower while keeping it naturally aspirated. Okay, so as you can see, it's around 170 180 kilometers an hour before I apply the brakes. We'll again test that again when we are done modifying the car. So on the previous episode, right, there was one person who commented, was it the previous one or I can't remember, but someone commented and asked about how much money do these shops make. Basically I think he said $330,000. I think that was his question. And I'm not exactly sure, but from what I've seen, it seems like you can make about 30 grand per shop in about a couple of hours, maybe 2-3 hours of gameplay. And 3 times 9, I think, 30,000 times 9, because we have 9 shops in the game, I think it gives you somewhere around the 270 margin. So I suppose maybe in a couple of hours of gameplay you can make it 330. I just don't know how many hours specifically. I didn't really test that out, but yeah, it's not that bad. So my aim right now was to keep it naturally aspirated, but give it more power. That is the aim. So that's why I'll avoid having the turbocharger as much as possible. I'm just gonna try to give the the engine the best upgrades that I can possibly give it, which is pretty expensive actually. Like if you check my balance, like it's really going down massively because these things are very expensive. I was aiming for the brain curve. I think it's like Brian or brain curve things, which are very, very expensive. So my balance was really just collapsing. It was just going down massively. But it's not that bad, to be honest, as long as we get what we want. Okay, so right now what we're looking to is gonna do the block first, dyno test it to see if there's any performance upgrades. You see, still 418, pretty much the stock performance. Nothing has happened, nothing has changed. I didn't really check the torque. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but the horsepower is still the same. 419, 418 horsepower. So we're gonna do the same thing. Now we're going to the cylinder headers. We're gonna be doing things one at a time and seeing the best performance that we could possibly get. And yeah, so I'll be trying to go for the brain curve things as much as I can, but unfortunately not all parts have those things. Like this was just JW cylinders, so I just was like, okay, fine, I'll just get the most expensive option and hopefully that'll be great. I didn't do a lot of research into the difference of these things, like the brand names, all these things, but what I've noticed is, personally, I'm more focused on the torque figures. So if you check, the more expensive they become, the more torque or the more endurance, I suppose, that they have. So I go for the highest endurance, as you can see. So if we can get something like, let's say 2000 Newton meters, that's good enough for me. So that's what I usually aim for. That's how I determine which parts to buy, right? The ones that have the highest torque, because if it has the highest torque, it means that it can bear the highest amount of horsepower. So and also reliability, that you can have the part for a longer time without having to replace it because of damage or wear. So that's what I use as my options. So now doing the air fuel system, same thing. We have the filters, same thing. Go to the one that seems to offer the highest performance. For stage 3 exhaust status, same thing, the highest performance. I feel like I was just reaching for the skies here. I didn't really do a lot of research before shooting this video. I was like, let me just wing it, let me just go for it, let's see what I can get, and we'll see. If it doesn't work, we might do it in a future episode and try to see if we can do anything different. But the target was keep the engine as it is, because I love this engine. It sounds amazing, and it actually has a high ref limit, man. I mean, like 9,000 rpm is really amazing. So the chance of me finding another engine that can offer me 9,000 rpm, I mean, maybe I'll dedicate a day to looking into finding an engine that can give me 9,000 rpm. But right now, I'm not really into that right now. So I'm just gonna go with these ones, this engine, and just modify it as much as I can and see how much power I can get to pull out of it, right? To be honest, I was a bit disappointed because it really did not meet my expectations, if I'm being completely honest with you. As you can see, it's still stock, no turbocharger. I mean, it's still naturally aspirated, there's no turbocharger. And then we tested again, so now you see from 418 to 463. After spending that much money, this is a bit disappointing. I was expecting it to be maybe in the 500 region or maybe the 550 region. Unfortunately, that was disappointing. I went for the gearbox, right, to the drivetrain, and obviously I want to keep it rear wheel driven. I don't want to make it all wheel. It's a GTR. I mean, it's a rear wheel drive. I wanted to keep it rear wheel drive. And then when I got here, I remembered, I don't really know much about drivetrains. So I see a lot of options, but I don't exactly know which one is the best one. So I end up just giving up, like, okay, fine. Maybe I'll do some research and then I'll come back to, look into it a little bit later, or maybe some other day, because I don't really have that much information about it. So I just came for the clutch. Again, I want the best clutch that I could get. As you can see, the difference between the forged clutch is 900 Newton meters compared to this one, which is 1,200 Newton meters. So as I said, I go for the highest torque, and that's what I did. And then for the diff, the diffs, I changed it when it was brand new, put in an electronic one, and I left it like that. So still, even with the new clutch, performance is still the same, 462. That was really disappointing. As I said, not really happy with that. So it was pretty much back to the drawing board right now. Like, okay, what do I do? What can I do different? So the first thing, obviously, was to work on the configuration of the gearbox. That doesn't exactly change the horsepower figures. It just concentrates or configures the gearbox to give you better acceleration. That does not equal better horsepower, however. So that is like the downside of this. But as long as it gives me better acceleration, that's good enough. So as you can see now, I just tempered with the air fuel ratio, gave me an extra 2 or 3 horsepower. Really not worth it, to be honest. Still disappointing. So I decided, I've tried my best, so I might as well just put on a turbo. The reason I didn't want to put a turbo, however, was I had a thought that maybe it might actually affect how far the car can go, like the rev counter, the rev limit. I thought maybe it might have to lower the rev limit a bit, and that was the reason I did not want to have the turbo on. And also the performance. I wanted the performance to just be naturally aspirated to be smooth, no turbo lags or anything like that. That's what I was aiming for. But I ended up having to just go for a turbo because the performance was really not doing it. I mean, after spending all the money, I started with about 418 horsepower and pushed to like 460 something horsepower after spending like over $500. So that was really disappointing. So I end up having to go for the turbo because, as I said initially, that my target was 1,000 horsepower. Yes, I didn't hit the 1,000 horsepower, but I pushed it to at least 800 horsepower, which was close enough with the same engine. But I think the issue maybe might be, it's either the engine is just, the limiting factor, or some of the things I did not choose the best, options, I suppose. So I don't know, maybe in a future video I might look into it, but so far I've done this, and I think it's a bit frustrating and disappointing, but maybe in a future video I might look into it. My target, however, is to keep the same engine, not a different engine. Right now I want to give it a spoiler. It's a GTR. Let's make it a proper GTR RS. So GTR RS is a spoiler. So I was looking for the swamp neck, right, which is what the GTRs have right now, and we have like 3 or 4 options, but I went for this one. However, it's very, very expensive, like 350 gold coins, man. However, it seems like it has active aero, right? And we'll test that actually. So if you see, it has that active, that DRS wing, I don't know if it works. I don't know if it works as like a DRS. I don't know if you'll have a DRS button, or will it just help in downforce. I don't know, but we will test it. Right now we're looking into changing the colors and whatnot, making it unique to how I want it to be. So unfortunately, the tires, not really sure about the rims. I might need to choose other rims, but for now I'll just leave the stock ones that came with the car. And I did change the color a little bit, change the color of the car. I love the gray. I think maybe I like the gray because I love Matt Watson's videos, and I think that's his car. I think his car is like this grayish color, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of why I wanted it. I first chose white, but I was like, no, let me just go gray. I think that would be better. And here I wanted to input spaces to make the track of the car wider, and unfortunately I was not having any luck with that. Not really sure why that was happening, but yeah, that's the story. So here's our car, right? So let's hear it. This is the reason why I wanted to keep this car as naturally aspirated as I possibly could. Like, it just sounds amazing. But fortunately, even with the turbocharger, you can still see that our rev limit is still at like 9,500 horsepower, not horsepower, RPM, sorry. So even with the turbo, I'm happy that we still have that, rev line. That's what I wanted, to have an extremely high rev limit. So I suppose it's a win-win situation. We got more power and we still got to keep the the red line. But yeah. And the other thing is, the turbo, there's no turbo lag, which is very good, and it seems like it's really linear. The performance is not when you get to a turbo and then the car just starts flying out of the blue. It's not doing that, so I'm really liking that. It's just performing exactly as I want it to be. However, now that it's more powerful, we don't really have launch control because unfortunately the brakes are not powerful enough. I'll have to go back and look into the brakes, yada yada yada. So now, as you can see, when I apply the brakes, now we're pushing around 230 as compared to about 170 before the modifications. That's like 50 kilometers an hour more, which is, not the best, but it's good enough for me. I'll have to go back and look into the brakes, so that I can still have launch control instead of just, a burnout. So we'll look into that in a future episode. I noticed something while testing this though, that the spoiler, okay, not the spoiler, the wing, right? The wing is active. As you can see, now it's closing. However, it's not, we don't have a DRS button. As you can see, there's no button that's DRS button in the screen. I don't even know why I expected that, but still, I kind of wanted that, to have a special button for the DRS. It seems like it closes at 100 kilometers an hour, which is, obviously for downforce, so over 100 kilometers an hour. I'm pretty sure it closes so that it can give you more downforce, right? Which is good. but it does not open. There's no button to open it for DRS. So anyone that knows DRS, so you know, basically the wing will open again to allow the airflow. Basically it reduces the downforce to allow you to have much more performance, or drag, I suppose. It reduces drag. Yeah, whatever. Okay, those people who know what I'm talking about understand. If you don't know, please do some research on it. It's a little bit complicated for me to, you know, explain, but that's what this wing is supposed to do. It's supposed to offer me drag, have DRS and all those things, but it's not having those things. It is an active wing, which is good enough. It was worth the money and it looks amazing on the car, but I was hoping a DRS button, but you know, it's not that big of a deal, I suppose. So yeah, man, I suppose, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to do. These are the targets that I wanted for, and no, it's good enough. Not the best results, but I suppose sometimes you just have to take what you're given, right? But yeah, you know, we'll see what we're gonna do in the next episodes with the car and with other cars, I suppose. But for now, this is about it. This is it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please drop a like, comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I will be seeing you in the next episode. Peace.